Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to FM's Professor Chat. I'm Mimi Eglin, one of the admissions counselors at FM, and we're very excited to have you all here today to learn more about our education degrees as well as our general studies, liberal arts, both our English track and our psychology track. I want to take a moment to remind you that your microphones are all muted, so if you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to use the chat feature, and I will direct your question to the appropriate professor. The degrees that we're covering this afternoon will be our early childhood education, our AAS degree, and our certificate, our physical education and sports management AS degree, and then our general studies liberal arts AA degree, both our English and our psychology track. I'm going to take a moment to introduce the four incredible instructors that we have with us today. First is Erica Gower, instructor of early childhood education. Michael Youngs, assistant professor of English. Tom Rogan, associate professor physical education and sports management, and Paula Brown-Weinstock, professor of psychology. I will now turn the presentation over to Erica to discuss our early childhood education degree and certificate. Erica?
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Erica Gonzalez-Gower. I'm a full-time early childhood education instructor at FMCC. This is my 5th year in that role. Prior to coming to FMCC, I was a classroom teacher and a reading specialist for 24 years, teaching every grade from preschool to 6th grade in some capacity. I'm also a first-generation college student, so I understand what it's like to be the first one in your family ever to go to school. So if you're thinking about becoming a teacher, now is a great time. People typically go into teaching because they get joy from working with young children, they want to make a difference in the lives of children, or they've been inspired by a teacher in their life. They also recognize the important benefits of a teaching schedule if you have family or your own children. It's also an environment where it's very unique, it's very dynamic, you never have the same day twice, and you're also contributing to your community and to society. I think right now, too, the current crisis has really highlighted the important work that teachers do now that many people are working from home and trying to manage a job in childcare, and really understanding what teachers really do every day and the important work that they do. So that, in addition to what's happening in the teaching workforce, now is a great time to become a teacher because there's actually a teaching shortage. So if you've ever thought about becoming a teacher, the time now is really good to think about it. The current teaching workforce is getting a little bit older, and there's not a lot of people that are coming in to take those positions. So if you're thinking about becoming a teacher, you're going to get a job when you graduate. So the demand for teaching is only getting bigger, so the job prospects are great. Depending on how much experience you have, depending on how much education you have, salaries typically start at about $28,000 a year. For a preschool job, but once you get into kindergarten and elementary or middle or high school grades, it almost doubles. So the prospects for employment are great, and typically the benefits that you get in addition to your salary are also really good too. So some of the things to think about becoming a teacher, because I have a lot of experience as a classroom teacher, that really affects the classes that I teach. I'm a full-time teacher. I teach most of the education classes at FM. So if you decide to come to FM and start your teaching degree, you can get a 1-year certificate, you can get a 2-year degree and graduate and work, or you can get your 2-year degree and transfer to a 4-year school and to continue your education. And I'm comfortable with advising and answering any questions that you may have of any of those options. So in addition to that, students oftentimes have questions about what are the classes like and what is the environment like. So at FM, our program has been recently updated. The classes and the program itself align with currently nationally what's expected for you to be able to do. The class sizes are typically small. You get a lot of one-on-one help, a lot of interaction in a small setting. The classes are very hands-on, they're practical. You learn to work with young children. You take classes that are going to help you once you graduate so you're ready to go into the workforce. You have an assignments that are related to what it's really like to be a teacher. In addition to that, part of your classwork is getting to work with young children, either at the campus daycare program that we have or in different places in the local community in the field. One of the things that you get to do if you do a 2-year program is that you get to do an internship. And I help you choose a site that matches what you're hoping to do when you graduate. I'm very careful about placement. And you get to spend 225 hours actually working in a supervised mentor experience. You get to practice and see what the job is really like when you graduate. One of the great things about that internship is not only do you get the practice, but most of the time interns are offered some kind of position either from that employer or someone the employer knows when they graduate. So it's a great way to get experience in the local community. Also, there is a certain amount of money available if you're thinking about going into teaching and you're currently working in the field as a teacher. There's scholarship money available that can help you help pay for your classes. As I mentioned earlier, sometimes you choose to continue your degree, and we have many transfer articulation agreements with other schools, which means the classes that you take at FM get you started, and then you continue to go to a 4-year school and then graduate and work then. All right, if you, again, as I mentioned earlier, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.
There's a question for you, Erica. And
Sure.
I have a question. It is, where do most of our students transfer to? Do you know, like a popular transfer?
St. Rose is a very popular transfer program. We have agreements with them. So oftentimes students will start at FM. The tuition is much more affordable. They'll get their 2-year degree. And then the classes that they take at FM all transfer to their 4-year degree so they can go there and graduate and continue their studies.
Okay, great. And there's another question.
Sure.
You mentioned internships. Where do our
Yes.
students do their internships?
There's many different locations. I'm currently working with many different sites. They can be in a wide range of early childhood programs at public schools, in private schools, in any setting that starts with babies that go all the way up to 3rd grade, because early childhood spans from birth to age 8. So when I meet with students and I'm getting them set up the semester before they do their internship, I very carefully sit down and have a one-on-one conversation to help guide where I think the best fit and the best placement is to do the internship. And that all depends on what their hopes are once they graduate, what their career goals are. But I have a wide range of settings all across Fulton-Montgomery County. Anywhere that's within a 15-mile radius, I place interns, and they've been carefully screened.
Okay, wonderful. I don't see any other questions for you, but if there are, I'll let you know. I am now going to turn the presentation over to Tom, who will discuss our physical education degree as well as sports management. Tom?
Thank you, Mimi. Hello, everyone. First, Erica did a wonderful job of talking about the education field as a whole and teaching. I've been teaching my entire life. I ran my first soccer camp when I was in 3rd grade. So I'm a teacher. My parents are teachers, and she's right. The schedule is wonderful. As a college teacher, we're on summer vacation right now, so it feels really good. I've been teaching at Fulton-Montgomery a little over 20 years in their physical education and sport management major. I'll first start talking about physical education a little bit, seeing that we just came off the education conversation. Our major is basically designed as the first 2 years of a transfer major for students interested in becoming physical education teachers, maybe health education teachers, maybe athletic trainers, maybe fitness professionals could also fit into that field. Our students will take a variety of classes, activity classes, teacher methodology classes, health classes, and some science classes to prepare them for a 4-year degree. Most of our students transfer on to SUNY Cortland or SUNY Brockport or locally Sage College here in Albany. Those tend to be the 3 schools that most of our students will transfer into. After those 2 years at the 4-year school, a number of our students have been placed as physical education teachers around some of the local schools at Fulton-Montgomery counties. And then we just found out we have a student that was just placed in Denver, Colorado. So it's an exciting place to be there. We have 2 full-time faculty members in our department, and we've both been there for over 20 years. The other one much longer than me. You'll meet her. The second part of our major is our sport management major. This is something that was just added probably about 4 years ago. It's a very popular major now on college campuses. This is a major for students that might be interested in recreation places. They might be interested in working in athletic departments at colleges, athletic departments at high schools. They might be interested in working with professional sports teams at a whole variety of levels. We've had a large number of students coming in and have been very interested in the sport management major. It's been very exciting for us. We have a few faculty members that teach that. The sport management major has some of the same classes as the physical education major, but it also has some more business and marketing types of classes, which our students find very, very interesting. We're very excited about our major. We have wonderful facilities on campus. We have a beautiful fitness center. We have 2 small multi-purpose gyms, a large gymnasium, athletic fields, and the hope is that we will soon be adding a turf field to our campus. I think that might be about it. If you have any questions or if you're interested in the major, please feel free to contact me or ask any questions right now. I'm around all summer. So,
we actually do have a question for you, Tom.
Yes.
This student, I'm not quite sure who they heard this from, but they heard that our anatomy and physiology course is quite intense as part of the PE program. Can you elaborate on that? Is it something that a student should worry about taking with us or somewhere else, or what should they do?
Well, we have 2 anatomy and physiology classes. We just recently, our students used to take an anatomy and physiology 1 and an anatomy and physiology 2. Some of the local colleges, Sage College and Brockport, now accept a single semester anatomy and physiology class. And the one that we have at Fulton-Montgomery is called Essentials of Anatomy and Physiology. It basically takes what used to be broken into 2 semesters, puts it into 1, but it's not as intense. It doesn't go as in depth as the anatomy and physiology 1 and 2 classes do. SUNY Cortland still is looking for you to take anatomy and physiology 1 and 2. And whether you take it at Fulton-Montgomery or Cortland, it is a bit of an intense class. It's a lot of memorization. When students tend to get over the hump a little bit at the time they need to spend memorizing, things become a little bit easier for them as they begin to move along. But anatomy and physiology initially kind of shocks students a little bit and scares them a bit. But if you put the time and energy and effort into it, it is actually very easy, might be the wrong word, but you can get through that class. And the interesting thing about that class is, as much of a struggle as that class may be for students, they do often say it's one of the more interesting classes they've ever taken, because you're learning about yourself, the human body.
Actually, there's one other question too, Tom, and this is, can I get a job with a sport management degree, or do I have to transfer to a four-year institution?
The sport management degree is a 4-year degree. Can you get a job? Well, you can do lots of things. But the reality is, for most businesses looking to hire a sport management position, they would be looking for a 4-year degree in that particular situation.
Excellent. I don't see any other questions. And if there are for either Erica or Tom, certainly post them, and I will ask them at the end of the presentation. So up next is Michael, who will give the overview of the general education English track.
I'm really glad to have everybody here today. Thanks for joining us in this new way that we talk to people, which is fun. My name is Michael Youngs, and I'm an English professor at FM. I've been at FM for 13 years. Prior to that, I taught full-time at SUNY Cobleskill, which is just a hop, skip, and a jump from FM. Just a little bit about FM itself before I talk about the program. FM is a really great place because it really is almost like a small private school. You have a lot of really close connections with your professors. The professor to student ratio is excellent. Class sizes are small. It's a beautiful campus with really good facilities. So the biggest sell for me on FM is the quality of it you get for what a low cost. So it's just a really positive place to be. And we hope to get back there very soon. The general studies program, just in general, which by the way is available to students in person conventionally, as well as it's also a fully online attainable degree. So if that's a route that anybody wanted to take, it is available that way as well, in addition to the face-to-face classes. And this is for students who want to study liberal arts. And they want to explore different electives and different kinds of classes in a very flexible way. It's for students who want to transfer to a 4-year school and major in something of their choice after they've, which is what a lot of students do, kind of take different electives and different classes in a flexible way to figure out, what it is that you want to focus on. And the saving money part is, that sells itself. You'll learn in the general studies degree many different kinds of liberal arts courses of study, such as science, history, math, English, social science, humanities, just to name a few. And upon transfer, then you would transfer into the appropriate major from there. In the general studies degree, there's a strong emphasis on, and I don't like this term very much, but it's called soft skills, which include effective communication, strong writing, critical thinking, creativity, and emotional intelligence. For me, these are the most valuable skills that students can really learn about in college, and they apply. And these are the kinds of things that employers all over are really looking for. Job opportunities upon completing a liberal arts or general studies degree, a 4-year degree, include a teacher, lawyer, editor, corporate communicator, public relations manager, human resources manager, fundraiser, journalist. This is just to name a few, and these are all jobs that pay over $55,000, some much more in some cases. Students tend to transfer, and again, FM is a great place to save some money and get a lot of transfer credits under our belts, and they're taken by all the SUNY schools, and that's where our students tend to transfer to most often. There's something like 30 4-year SUNY schools offering 4-year degrees. But students can also transfer to places, we already heard about St. Rose, that's a very popular transfer school for students, as well as, and I would be remiss to not mention this, as it is where I went to school, Hartwick College in Oneonta. It's a great place as well. Within the general studies degree, the AA degree, we also have an English pathway, which is a guaranteed transfer program for students who would like to attain a 4-year degree in English specifically, which I highly recommend. So it's just a great program overall. It's our most popular program, and students really have just a wonderful way to get into college and save some money, be in a great environment, and get their transfer goals completed in a very, very fun way. So we'll open it up to questions maybe.
Yep, I have one right now.
Okay.
And I have no idea what I want to do. Is this the degree I should choose?
That's an easy answer right there. The answer is yes. Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that I don't know. This is my opinion, so take it for what it's worth. But I think that that it used to be this way where the first couple of years of college was kind of about figuring out what direction you might want to go, right? I think we've gotten away from that in the last, 30 years or so, where we try to push people and say, you have to figure out what you want to be in your life and your job really early on. But I don't really agree with that. I think the first few years of college really should be about exploring many different options. I mean, some people know what they want to do, but for most of us, we don't. So yeah, that's definitely the program for that. Is a great time to take different electives. Taking electives in things like, early childhood or sport management, and criminal justice, any type of thing you might find, where you go in a different direction than liberal arts. It's not just about liberal arts either. So yes, definitely the program for people who are trying to figure those important life questions out.
Excellent. And actually, this question is going to be for all of you right now. This student wants to know the number of credits within each program. So I'm going to assume the number of credits that they earn within each degree is what the student is asking.
64?
64?
62?
I was going to say 61.
Yeah, I think it's anywhere around 62 to 64, depending on the program.
Absolutely. That's what it is. Between 62 and 64 credits. That's definitely the first year and second year, and then transferring on if you're going to transfer on to another institution. All right. Okay. I don't see any other questions. So now, last but definitely not least, we are going to turn it over to Paula to discuss the psychology track of our general studies degree. Paula?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to do my best to help you understand what a psychology track is at FM. Michael did an excellent job giving you an overview of the general studies program. Yes, that is our most popular program because we have many students who come to FM and then transfer on. So you would go into the general studies program. A lot of students are interested in the field of psychology. So we work towards making a psychology track. And maybe not, probably not. You've heard of SUNY seamless transfer. Is that what it's called? Yes, where we work towards helping students take particular classes at FM in the field of psychology that will then seamlessly transfer to the 4-year school. In the courses that you would take at FM will give you a wide overview of the field of psychology because it is a huge field. Having a degree about human behavior will benefit you in any field. When I was at Oswego, that's where I got my 4-year degree, I was a dual major in psychology and criminal justice. They go hand in hand, and I wasn't quite sure which field I was going to pursue. Then I went off to SUNY Albany, got my master's degree in rehabilitation counseling because I wanted to work with people with disabilities, whether it be substance use, whether it be physical disabilities, whether it be psychiatric disabilities. And then I got my very first teaching job. My very first job was teaching, and I realized how much I loved teaching. So I went to SU and got a PhD in counseling education. And really that's a degree that helps people become counselors. I love teaching. I have been at FM I just finished my 20th year here. And so most students have to take a general psych course. And many students will say, that that's one of their favorite courses that they've ever taken, because who doesn't like learning about human behavior, trying to understand why you tick, why other people tick. It's just such a valuable type of knowledge to have. So a lot of times students would, as we would go around the classroom and introduce ourselves, you know, and I'd ask them, what's your name? What are you majoring in? They'd say, I'm majoring in psychology. And I'm like, you are? At FM? We don't have a psych major here. You can't get a 2-year degree in psych. Well, because they want to major in psychology. So I know a lot of people don't understand the track of education. But you come to FM, your first 2 years at FM, I tell all my students who are going to transfer, it doesn't really matter where you're at. You're taking your intro to psych, your intro to soc, your history classes, your math classes, your English classes. Why not take them at FM, where you're going to get the same information, but at a much more affordable cost? Get your feet wet. Come to a smaller campus. We have a lot of personal interaction with our students. We get to know them very well. I stay in touch with a lot of my students who transfer on, and I ask them, did FM prepare you? And they always tell me yes. They really feel like they got a good, solid education at FM. So specifically for the field of psychology, if you were considering, you know, getting a 4-year degree at FM, you would take Intro to Psych. That's your overview, your survey class, learning about the field. Then you could take Abnormal Psychology, which tends to be probably the class of mine that closes out the fastest, because everybody wants to know why people have mental health problems and try to understand things better. But that gives you a whole insight into the field of abnormal psychology. Then we have a wide range of developmental psychology courses. You can take a child psychology course. You can take a adolescent psychology course. You can take a course that covers the entire lifespan. We also have social psychology. That takes a look at how people are impacted by other people around us, by society, by groups. A very interesting course. So if you were to take Intro to Psych, Abnormal Psych, one of those developmental psych classes, and Social Psych, all of those would transfer right into your 4-year degree. And it would give you a really good overview of the field of psychology, to have a sense of what it is that you're particularly interested in. And then there's another course, a 5th course, behavioral statistics. It's an introduction to statistics because in the field of psychology, as Mike alluded to, the soft science, we still do science, we still do research, and you would learn how we do research in the field, making it as scientific as we possibly can. Although there's tons of variables with human beings, we can still find ways to follow that scientific method. I just had something I was going to tell you and I forgot now. That's me, always rambling, always going off on a tangent.
Well, that's okay. How about we have a question
Right.
about how much of degree credits at FM transfer out of state? I guess we'll just, we have formal transfer agreements with 4-year institutions. We have a career and transfer advisor on campus who works with students who want to transfer on after the 2 years at FM. We have students transfer all over. We have students transfer to Florida, California, Maine, Michigan. So our credits transfer. Just because we're a SUNY institution doesn't mean that our credits only transfer to other SUNY institutions or schools within New York State. So I would say if a student plans on transferring to a school out of state, that they work with Andrea, who is our career and transfer advisor. She's fabulous. She reaches out to those other 4-year institutions to ensure that those credits would transfer. So our credits transfer, definitely.
I do want to mention one other thing. So we also have a human service program at the college. That program's really designed for you to get a job after 2 years. We also have a KSAC program, and I'm sure Mimi will be doing a conversation with the folks who run those programs. That's a program that is a chemical and substance abuse counseling program. So people often think, oh, that's a 4-year degree in psych, or that's a degree in psych. It's different. When I'm talking about the psych track, these are people who would transfer on. You're going to go to a 4-year school. You're probably eventually going to get your master's degree. So like if you went into the KSAC program, you would work with individuals with substance uses. Mm-hmm. But you would not be trained as a mental health counselor. You could not work with their anxiety issues or their depression issues or their eating disorder, whatever mental health issues they might have. For that, you have to have a degree in counseling, which requires a master's degree. So most students, when they come into the field of psychology, in fact, 2/3 of people who get a degree in psych go on to get a master's degree. And doing some kind of therapy, some kind of counseling is the most popular job market out there, which I will let you all know that the job market is on the rise. I wrote down a statistic, 22% increase in the job outlook because of the increase in substance use. And just look at what we're all dealing with right now. We know that as people are at home, we see the mental health issues that are on the rise because of unemployment, that are on the rise because people are trapped in their home, they're on the rise because people are socially isolated. So there's going to be a great need for people in the mental health field.
And we'll play off that on a second, Paula. Our chat with professors for the Human Services /KSAC is on May the 27th at 3 p.m. So if anyone is interested in hearing more about that, it is May 27th at 3 p.m. And they can chat with the instructors for the instructor for Human Services. Now, off that, why should I major in general studies over human services? That's a question from a student.
So Human Services is really, it's a 2-year program, and it's really designed for you, again, to get a job after the 2 years. It's very specific. There are certain classes that you have to take. I'm not saying you can't transfer with a 2-year degree in Human Services and go on to get a 4-year degree in psych, but majoring in general studies gives you more flexibility to explore other courses. It basically gives you more flexibility, I would say. If you know that you're going to go on and get a 4-year degree in psychology, human service probably isn't the right track for you. But we have plenty of students who have done the human service track and gone on to a 4-year school. I don't know if that answers your question.
And then this question, this is a hard one for all of us, I think, is do we believe that classes will be held on campus in the fall?
Yes.
I want them so bad. I miss my students.
Yes, I think that we're all feeling that same way. We all want to be back on campus, but just to reassure the students, we are working remotely. So our offices are available during regular business hours, Monday through Friday. So if students have questions about admissions or financial aid or, the student service aspect, we're there, we're here to help, and we're here to assist. So, and then hopefully come September, we'll all be right back in our offices and where we love to be. We have a small campus. And like I believe it was Michael who said, I like the way that you said that we are like a small private institution, because these instructors, these professors right here, they will get to know you, they will take an interest in you and your education. It's extremely important to them as well. So.
Can I just make a quick statement? Because that was a really good question. I think we're all really hopeful that we will be back in the classroom in the fall. But if we're not, if it comes to that, we're set up very well for remote instruction. And I can tell you that, we had to move online in the middle of the semester, as everyone knows. And I had a really positive experience Even though it was, very different, my students did really well. And I'm really proud of them for that. And it's because we were ready, at FM. We were really, truly well trained and ready to have the semester go on in a different way. So if something that we all don't want to happen happens, we're ready for that too.
Yeah, I want to just mention that too. If anybody has concerns about, can I be successful online? I've been teaching for 27 years, 20 years at FM. I never taught an online course. I didn't want to. I love the classroom interaction, but you adjust and you do what you have to do. And as Michael said, I was so proud of my students. We all were in this together, and we got through, yes, I wasn't in the classroom lecturing, but I lectured to them. I did everything from home that I would have done in the classroom, and then we were emailing. I was on the phone with students. We got everybody through. And so there were some students out there like, I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm like, yes, you will. We'll get through this. And many of them, we were, kind of chatting before we opened up this session. We all were saying that, most of our students did just as well, if not better. So there's pros and cons. You have to look at the pros if we don't end up back in the classroom in the fall, but boy, I'm hoping.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we don't have any more questions for this chat with professors. I want to thank our 4 fabulous professors who were here today. Thank you very much. I'd also like to thank our attendees for coming on this afternoon. We are hosting several additional chats with instructors. So I wanted to take a look at the website, see if you might be interested in hearing from some others. As I said, our admissions office is working remotely. So if there's questions, concerns, if you want to reach out to us, we'd love to chat with you. You can call the main admissions number. You can email us at geninfo.fmcc.edu. And if you are interested in applying, please utilize our free online application. We accept students daily and we reach out and we move them to the next step. So again, thank you everyone for participating this afternoon. And if there aren't any other questions, we'll say goodbye for now.
Goodbye.